ABC News political contributor Cokie Roberts is in Washington, D.C., covering the Pope's visit to the United States. And she's with us now to discuss his trip. Cokie, thank you for joining us.
Good to be with you, Stephanie. Thank you.
The Pope is heading to the White House on Wednesday, and there's already criticism from conservatives that the president is making the Pope's visit political. So what are the two expected to discuss?
Well, the criticism about the White House event is that the president has invited some people who are critical of the church in certain ways, mainly from the LGBT community, but also some religious women who have been very involved in social justice issues, which actually the Pope is right there with them on. But what amuses me is that these critics have said, well, it'd be terrible if the Pope gets his picture taken with these folks that look like he's agreeing with them. The Pope has just had his picture taken with Fidel Castro, and where he's holding Castro's hands and gazing into his eyes. And we know he doesn't agree with Fidel Castro, so I think the Pope can handle it.
And he has not shied away from speaking about polarizing issues either, like immigration reform and climate change. And on Thursday, he's addressing Congress, a body fiercely divided on those issues. So will the Pope go political? And are any members of Congress who disagree with his stances protesting or boycotting his address?
There's one member of Congress from Arizona who has decided not to come to the Pope's speech because he disagrees with Francis on the question of climate change. But by and large, most of them are desperate to be there and have found that the one seat that they can give away in the chamber is in much demand, and the seats that they have for the west lawn of the Capitol, where there'll be about 50,000 people, are also in great demand. So there's not a lot of boycotting going on. It's quite the opposite. It's people trying to scalp tickets. I think the Pope is likely to address the issues that clearly matter to him. His encyclical on the question of the planet and the desecration thereof is something that he refers back to, and that churchmen, the cardinal here in Washington, certainly has referred to many times in the lead up to the Pope's visit. And of course, immigration, you know well there in El Paso what a huge issue it is, and it's one that the church has been very, very much involved in for many, many years, of trying to promote immigration reform. Here in Washington, it might come as a surprise to you, a third of the Catholics in the Diocese of Washington, D.C. are Hispanic, and they are expected to show up in great numbers. They're planning a march to greet the Pope when he does his parade around the Washington Monument after he goes to the White House tomorrow. And the way that one Hispanic pastor described it was that he expects rivers of Hispanic families to come to greet the Pope and make the statement that these are good, God-fearing, patriotic people in the face of what's been going on the political trail.
Well, the latest Pew research shows that 86% of American Catholics approve of Pope Francis, and this is the number of Americans who identify as Catholics as stagnant or declining, and as those who are say they're open to gay marriage and divorce. So what will the Pope's message be when he prays with crowds and church leaders throughout this trip?
Well, I'm sure that the Pope will give a strong message on behalf of life, and there'll be some liberals who agree with him on climate change and immigration and helping the poor who disagree with him on abortion and gay marriage, and vice versa with conservatives. But you know, his is a consistent message. But what he does not do is stand up and scold. His whole being is one of joy and happiness, and that's what he tries to convey. He's genuinely, clearly enjoys being with people, especially children, and he has insisted that he spend some time with people on the margins of society. So here in Washington, he will visit with homeless people at Catholic Charities. In Philadelphia, he will visit with prisoners who are very excited because they have been chosen to carve a special chair for the Pope. In New York, he will meet with children in poor schools and their moms And so he is really insisting that he be a voice of encouragement and of joy and love and mercy while he is here, not a voice of scolding and warning.
And you mentioned the stop at the prison in Philadelphia. Is he expected to add his voice to the debate over criminal justice reform?
It wouldn't surprise me if he did that, but you know, that would probably be the least controversial thing that he could do, because oddly enough, at this moment when the parties cannot get together on anything, they do seem to have found some common ground on the question of criminal justice reform. And so he could add his voice to what is already a rising swell on that subject.
Cokie Roberts, the political correspondent for ABC News, covering the Pope's visit to the United States. Thank you for your time and your insight today.
Nice to be with you.